A $300,000 property that you think will resell for $500,000 sounds like $200,000 profit, right? Wrong. Before you buy your next investment property, you need to know these numbers. Let's break down exactly how we analyze a deal from purchase price to renovation cost to financing, sale, even rental income, and ultimately your profit. Now, this works on a fix and flip or a buy and hold. Let me share my screen with you real quick and we can go through the deal analyzers that we use. We actually created that for Hard Money Bankers, our lending company. But just go to hmbflipflow.com. It's completely free. And this is what we use. And this is what a lot of our clients use when they're analyzing deals for a fix and flip or just as a rental property in general. So let's just use this property, hypothetically, random property. Let's just use the numbers I talked about. We talked about $300,000 purchase, $500,000 resale, and let's just say there's $100,000 in construction, right? So that means 100,000 in purchase, 100 in construction. That's 400 grand, and you sell for 500 grand. So it's 100,000 in gross profit. Let's see what happens when we break this whole deal down to see how it nets out. So, okay, so we're putting in all of these numbers. Let's say it's a fix and flip deal. It can be a fix and rent, but let's just say it's a fix and flip, and we hold it for 6 months. Let's say it's the hard money lender, private lender bank. Let's say they do 65% based off of the after repair value, right? So you do 65% of 500,000, you're getting a loan of 325. There's some other cool tools, property valuations, other crap in here. Don't worry about any of that for this point. Okay, so let's say title insurance is $3,000. Some of these things are already pre-populated into here, but let's just say you know some of these. So if you don't know some of these numbers, some of this stuff will already be built in. But let's just say you have title insurance, cost maybe 3,000. You have title fees, 7,500 recording fees, depending on what state you're in. Some states have recording fees as a percentage, like transfer tax, and some don't. Actually, title insurance is probably going to be like 2,000 on this. Recording transfer fees are kind of high in DC. Okay, let's say your lender charges 3 points, 13%, 12.99 rate, maybe some appraisal fees, some additional fees, things like that. You can edit this if this is a cash deal. But anyways, so far you got, well, let me just keep going through this and then we're going to break down all of this. Okay, so that's financing costs. Then you have holding costs. Now, even if you buy a property in cash, well, first off, let me go back to this. Even if you're buying a property in cash, you still have these static buying costs. You do. So doesn't matter if you're buying in cash, bank, hard money, private money, you still have this. This will differ based on if you're getting bank financing or private loan, or maybe you're using your HELOC, or maybe you're using cash or a bank. Let's just say it's a bank and you get let's say, you're getting 1.5. I just want to show you break down what these numbers look like real quick. Let's say you're getting an 8.5% rate from your bank and maybe 1.5 points. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper, but banks definitely have more expensive junk fees than other places. But let's just say it's a bank. You got about $19,000-$20,000 in costs. Let's say it's a hard money lender. It's about just over 30,000 costs. So it's probably about 10,000 cheaper if you do use a bank. Obviously, I've done plenty of videos on all the funding sources that we've done. So check out those videos because not all funding sources are alike. Okay, so let's just say we're using a hard money loan. Okay, now monthly costs. That's static as well. At this price point, you're probably going to be closer to maybe $400 a month in taxes, depending on what state jurisdiction you're in. Maybe $200 a month in insurance, few hundred in utilities. So there's another $800 a month for holding costs on that end, and then you got your selling costs. So depending on what realtor you have, 6% is typically standard. Let's just say 5%. I like to do 6.5% total for give or take for selling costs. So let's say you're selling it for 500 grand. Call it another 7,500 in transfer tax because you do have tax associated with that. And this is assuming that you don't have any, you're not, let's just say your staging's already built into your construction and all of this other stuff is built into your construction. So let's just go through all this. Let me just double check real quick. 6-month hold period. Okay, let's calculate deal. So here's the breakdown. It tells you it's a poor deal. This investment may not be all that profitable. You're netting $22,000, 5% return on your investment. The reason why is based on all of those numbers, Here, let's go through all this. You're gonna be at 477 for everything, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but like that's where the numbers come in at. Let's break this down again. We bought it for 300,000. The repair costs were 100,000. These are static costs no matter what. The only big variable after this is what the resale is. And the resale we discussed was $500,000. We put that in right here. It was $500,000. So what ends up happening, and I'm trying to get another view on this so you can see this a little bit better. Let me move myself out of the way. So you're at 400 minus 500, so that's 100,000 gross to start with. Okay, let's look at the big numbers first. So you have your selling costs. These are flat. Like you can't really control this, right? You got your real estate commissions, you got your transfer tax, things like that. You don't really, and like that's not seller subsidy or any of that other stuff. So no matter what, even if you're paying cash, it doesn't work. Your holding costs, $4,800. Property taxes, insurance, utilities. Static. Can't really control that, even if you're paying cash. Buying costs, title insurance, title fees, recording fees, transfer tax, 8750. It's probably even slightly higher than that, but you can't control that, even if you're paying cash. The only unknown is your financing costs if you are paying cash. So again, you'd be making a $22,000 profit if you finance this deal. Now, typically, what's the rule of thumb? I'm gonna get my calculator out real quick. So the rule of thumb generally in real estate is you try to make a 20% return based on your total cost. There's a lot of different things you can look at. So if your total cost, and when I say cost, I just talk about your two static costs of your purchase and construction, right? So that's 400 grand. So if you take 400 grand and you times that by 20%, what's that number? $80,000 in that case. You're making 22,000 in this case. So let's take 22,000 divided by 400,000, and that's like a 5.5%, a 5.5% return. Not great. So rule of thumb is most investors want to make about 20%. These days, as things have gotten more competitive, they've tried to make closer to 10%, right? So 10% is what? 40 grand. Again, 22 grand in this case. The numbers aren't all that good, right? The numbers are not all that good in this case. And again, this is with lending terms which aren't that crazy. Now let's change up the financing costs, right? So let's say you pay cash for this thing. Let's see where these numbers end up being. Let me say recalculate this deal. It's a fair deal. A fair deal if you're paying all cash. You're making 53, right? So that means you're making a 13% return on investment, right? Let me make sure those numbers are right. Let me just say $400,000 times 13%, 52 grand. Was that number? Yep, 52, 53 grand. Okay. So you're making a 13% return on that case. Again, investors back in the day were trying to make 80 grand. Today they're making about 40 grand, give or take. If you pay cash, you do make that. You make about $53,000 if you pay cash for this thing. But not all investors have the ability to make cash. And here's the other argument. If you're going to pay cash for a property, you need to take in you need to give your money a return, right? Because let's go back to this financing tab. Typically your money could be working for you for, tax free in a treasury bond, something like that. You can get into a passive investment. So you got to give your return some kind of money. A minimum 10% return. So let's say you're making a 10% return with your money. Again, let's see how that shakes out. Okay. Oh, you know what? One thing I didn't even note is that was assuming you were getting a loan of 325, which is 65%. If you're using your own money, that means it's going to be at $500,000, right? So that's $25,000 in costs. Goes back to a poor deal, right? If you're putting your own money into this and assuming it's at a 10%, right? So again, the numbers aren't all that great in this particular deal. So again, let's say you're using a bank, and let's say it's 8-1, call it. And let's just say they got about $1,000 in fees. They're gonna have more than $1,000 in fees, but let's just say they have $1,000 in fees. Um, let's go back to the down payment of, say, bank to 70%, right? Still gonna be poor deal, a fair deal, 35% margin. So not that great, right? In essence, an 8% return. So what has to happen in this case? You got to buy the property for cheaper. And I know that sounds crazy because you're buying a property for $300,000 that's selling for $500,000 and you're putting 100 into it. You have $100,000 of gross equity that vanishes when you actually look at the hard costs related to this. Now, in essence, let's say maybe you have to buy the property for 250. Let's see what happens there. Ah, shoot, did I put the wrong number in? Yup. There we go. Sorry. I put 2.5 million. There we go. Goes up to a good deal. $85,000 profit. That's the number that potentially works. And again, the cool thing, if you do use this tool, you can click save deal, or you can click apply for quick private funding if that's something that that interests you. Um, and you can print this too, as you can see. So it's pretty cool. You can send it to business partners and things like that. But the cool thing is if you save it, let's see if that's saved. There we go. Then you can go back and you can edit these things later. So the cool thing about this tool, there's other free tools online. We just like this tool because, we work with a lot of real estate investors and these are the things that work. So here's the other deal. This also works for rentals, right? So let's base this on rentals. Now it's not going to give you good, poor, good or bad deal in a rental, but like you want to do a rental that has built-in equity, right? So if you're going to buy a rental property and there's no profit, like there's no equity left, the numbers don't work all that good. You want a rental property that cash flows because you're going to get a debt service coverage loan, right? So it's got a cash flow. Typically, you want that thing to be at least 1.2, 1.3, ideally 1.4, 1.5 debt coverage service, even if the lender is going to give you a 1.0 or 1.1 or 1.2. I've done other videos on debt service coverage loans in the past and what good rentals look like. But you want to have equity if you're going to buy it as a rental property. So anyways, go over to hmbflipflow.com. I'll put the link in below this video, hmbflipflow.com, if you want to use this as an analyzer. But like, look, the numbers didn't lie, right? The numbers didn't lie. We bought it. We tried to buy a property for 300 grand. That was worth 500 grand. We're going to put 100 grand into it, right? So we had a $400,000 cost basis, $500,000 value, $100,000 gross spread, and it got eaten up. All these different types of financing types eat it up. And it's not that hard money was too expensive. It didn't work with bank money. It didn't work with private money. Yeah, if you bought it in cash, it worked. But if you took the real cost of what you were giving up, your value of your money that you were giving up, those numbers didn't really work either, right? You gotta, if you have cash and liquidity, you gotta give a dollar sign to your own personal money. You can't just say, oh, well, I have the cash. Okay, well, yeah, you made potentially a profit on this deal, but your cash was sitting in and stagnant for a long period of time, right? Like, you got to give your cash some sort of return. Actually, I want to do one thing before we wrap up this video. Let's say you're able to get a 4% passive return on your cash. Let's just see what happens if you put that $4,000 into this as well instead. Now I'm going to say 100% financing because you're going to give yourself all the money, 300. Let's see, all these numbers work fine. All those other things stay the same. No fees associated with it. Let's just see what happens if you're going to give yourself a 4% return. Fair deal, you're going to get a 10%. 10% active, though. This isn't a passive investment. Active investment. All right. Hopefully everybody found this video helpful. Make sure to check out other YouTube videos that we do on Hard Money Bankers YouTube page. If you need anything from me, feel free to comment below and I'll personally answer. And don't forget, if you're interested in this tool for free, you don't need to put in your contact information or anything. Just go to hmbflipflow.com.